So in this video, I wanted to do sort of a part 2 to my live stream in which I was talking about why I respect the whole FBA ADOS movement, in respect that they wanted to, unite as people to protect their culture and history and fight for their rights, in terms of financially, politically, etc., and that people should respect that and not try and tell them what they should or shouldn't be doing, how they should or shouldn't be reacting in certain situations. And this video is really in the same vein, because equally as I respect what they are doing, minus the hate and xenophobia part, what I'm also seeing and what I don't like is a lot of anti-Africanism for our African brothers and sisters who have recently moved over, because this is where the issue seems to lie at the start. We don't even see ourselves as being the same or part of the same family. Now, of course, I'm not saying that all black people are the same, so don't come at me with all that stuff. I understand. However, there is more than enough evidence to suggest, at least particularly with our West African brothers and sisters, that we do share the same lineage. But I still see, even knowing all that, even when people do the DNA test, you all see it, but there's still a tremendous amount of vitriol being spewed their way. And I think the main reason, if I'll be honest, is down to this: jealousy. Now at present, there is a lot of evidence to suggest, and that we've got to give it up, that West Africans in particular are doing very well for themselves. I think they're probably the number one group in terms of education and, attainment in, the West, the US, Canada, and the UK especially. They're in high positions. They seem to be setting the pace in terms of, what can be achieved, and there seems to be the forefront when it comes to excellence, if you like. And it looks as if people are hating on that, because there's one thing when a non-black group comes into your home that you've been there for a long time and overtakes you, that can be explained away using racism and systematic oppression. But when another group who looks like you, has the same phenotype, pretty much you can't tell the difference, when they overtake you, what or who can you blame? And that's what seems to be happening. Right now, they seem to be used as scapegoats. Now, I do respect the fact that, when the Africans come over here, they seem to be, again, I'm generalizing, but from the outset, from when I engage with them, how they all seem to have a bit of a unison in terms of what they say. They seem to be focused, prepared, and organized in ways which seem to have helped them propel themselves forward. They seem to have a plan, a goal, what they need to do, what they're coming here for a reason, one particular reason, and they seem to be hitting those targets. They seem to be pushed to hit those targets, and they seem to be meeting it. Whereas, if I be honest with ourselves and look at us over here, if I compare us to Caribbeans over in the UK, we have seriously dropped the ball in a lot of key areas in which we are looking to level up at. And we only have to look at ourselves for the reason for it not happening, and not look to other people as scapegoating other people for the reason for it not happening. And this is one of the primary reasons why I see hatred being spewed their way in their direction, because it really seems to be fashionable to use them as punching bags to project our inadequacies in certain areas of our life that we seem to think, or we see, it seems like they don't have. And there's one last point that I want to make before I end this video, and it's a much more deeper, more nuanced conversation that has to be fleshed out and tackled in the future. But it's something I'm hearing more often from a lot of descendants, and it's the fact that they still seem to hold Africans to blame for their position, at least in terms of being shipped to the West, in terms of the slave trade. Now, for me, I'm going to say this. Do I believe that there's responsibility on their side regarding what has took place? Yeah, I do believe so, in part. And if I'm correct, Ghana did apologize for its role in the slave trade. However, I'm not even angry, or even, I don't even use that as anything. I don't even bring it up, because knowing some of the history and still learning the history, if you understand that what happened is that a lot of tribes saw other tribes during, war and the conquests, but there's also evidence of the African slave traders among the winning tribes themselves being captured and sold off. So there's a lot of mess and a whole lot of nuance to the conversation, in which it can't be just one, you did this as opposed to you did that. It's very nuanced. And even still, because the fact of, after Europeans came here, they, redid the lines. So a lot of these nations weren't the nations how they were beforehand. So it's like, how do you even pin a single nation or nations because of how the borders work now? It's like I said, it's a mess, and it's so much more nuanced, and it's so much more complicated than saying you did this, you did that. But the reason I'm not as angry or bitter, because it just reminds me of what happens over here once we settled over in the West, before the new wave of Africans came over. Because listen, our people have been selling each other out since the dawn of time, since we've been over here, which has caused a lot of the collapse of our movements that are supposed to help our people. So when we always moan about, oh, they sold us out, I'm like, well, we do the same thing to ourselves. We seem to have a history of doing this, which is why I'll say, and which I said at the start of the video, we are the same type of people. We are the same group. We sell out our own culture. We sell out our own community, just about everything for a little bit of finance. So that kind of point, I'm not even remotely on that. I've never been on that. So I wouldn't say I'm over it, but I don't even worry about that kind of thing. But my thing has always been this, and that's the reason why the title of this video is respect. Respect the culture, respect the people, respect the groups. Respect always works both ways. If you want respect, cool. Big up yourself, big up your people, have no problem with that. Respect works both ways. Equally speaking, if you go to another land, you respect their heritage, their culture. Likewise, someone that's come to your land, respect the people, respect their culture. But again, this seems to be something that's missing from all our culture at the moment. And it's one of the reasons why, again, when we talk about Pan-Africanism, it's one of the things which I'm like, can I realistically see this working? I don't know. But that's all I have in this video. That's all I wanted to say. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Until next time, I'm out.